It's time!
Hey, welcome to this week's edition of Strikes and Submissions featuring your host. I am Dorian. This is Michael. We're part of the Right Way Sports Network. First things first, make sure you guys go download the mobile app. Download the mobile app for iPhone, Android, Microsoft, whatever you got. Flip phone, we got it all. YouTube, go subscribe to us on YouTube. Make us number one for the week. Instagram, Twitter, whatever social media you have, go follow us on that, TWSN. And Mike, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. And you know what? Our audience needs to know that they need to be in the know. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, download the mobile app, all that good stuff. But what a great week of combat sports that we have ahead of us, and even a great week that just transpired. So a lot to get to.
A lot to get to. And let's jump right into it without further ado. Round one, we have the Jake Paul, Ben Askren aftermath of the, I don't even want to call that a fight, but what were your thoughts and takeaways on that?
When the fight was announced back in January, really December was when the wheels started turning on it. I never really took it seriously as I would a Canelo Billy Joe Saunders fight or a top level championship caliber boxing match. But I did know there would be a lot of eyeballs on the fight just because you are taking Jake Paul, who from YouTube and all the other things he has done in his life, Disney Channel, that has led to this point, he's been a very successful man. And then Ben Askren, a huge following for an MMA fighter. My take on this fight, though, and this was my take back in January, was that this was a calculated risk for Jake Paul. And the reason why it was a calculated risk was because Ben Askren has never been known to be a striker, but he is a game opponent. And if he were to lose, it would be over for Jake Paul's boxing career. But you know what? Credit to the man, Jake Paul. He got it done. Dorian, put aside how everyone may feel about Jake Paul and his antics. He is a genius at marketing. The guy knows how to make money. And let's just be completely honest. If there wasn't money in boxing, he would find a way to make money elsewhere, whether it's YouTube or whatever. It's just so happened that boxing is super lucrative, and that's why he did it. He has a chance to make a ton of money over the next few years, and God bless him. He deserves it. Whether you like the way he's going about it or not, he's doing that.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I agree with your sentiment there. You know, obviously the whole celebrity boxing or money fights, whatever you want to call it, little era that we're going through. You know, Floyd's about to box his brother. They just rescheduled that. So, you know, all powered up. Everybody making money. I love everybody making money. There's enough money for everybody. I'm all for that. But when it comes to the fight, I want to be the first to say I apologize, Jake Paul. I don't know why me being the MMA fan that I am would pick Ben Askren in anything that he could only use his hands in. I don't know what I was thinking. I must be a fool. I take that one on the chin. But I just couldn't see Jake Paul outboxing a world champion fighter. And granted, boxing is not fighting, and it's two completely different lanes. I understand that. Jake Paul looked good, man. I'm not going to lie. It was only 2 minutes. It was against Ben Askren, whatever you want to call it. Ben couldn't get close to him. He'd get close, boom, boom, touch him and move. And then that overhand right that put him down. I see a lot of people online also saying, oh, this is a work. This is a bad stoppage. What was the ref doing? This is no. Ben Askren got knocked out. He got up because he's been fighting for so long. It's just human nature for him to get up. It's second win for him to get up. Like when you saw him fight Robbie Lawler in his first fight, in the UFC. Robbie Lawler cracked him, and he fell, and he's just fighting. He's second nature to him almost, and he got up and ended up getting the stoppage in that from a bulldog choke, I believe. Now you could say Robbie wasn't out, but the moral of the story is we've seen Ben get hit and we've seen Ben get up. Now his next fight, we've also seen Ben get hit and Ben not move. We've seen the Masvidal knee. He hit him once, and he was stiff as a board and would not move. And I looked at it and I'm like, okay, obviously a punch in boxing gloves is not going to be as hard as a flying knee from a dude running 15 feet across the cage. But that was a hard punch, Mike. He laid him out, and he got up. He was on noodle legs. Ref waved the fight off. I'm all okay with that. My thing was just, it was too quick for me. By the time I got my popcorn and sat down on the couch, Ben Askren's he's getting walked off the cage or walked off the ring, and it's over. And I'm like, oh my gosh, man. Like I just think the entire event was a letdown. Maybe the fight was what a lot of people like. I think even you predicted a Jake Paul knockout if it wasn't going to go to decision. But I just think that it didn't end well. Not because the guy I wanted to win didn't win, but it was just too quick. And it's somewhat like Tyson, if he knocks out a guy in 30 seconds, you're going to be like, yay, it's Tyson. But at the end of the day, we want to see a fight. We wanted to see a fight. They've been talking trash to each other for a long time. Jake Paul won. He gets the last laugh. He can laugh at T. Wood. His coach can laugh at Tyron Woodley. And
can I just say something, Dorian? Okay, look, I know I've been very complimentary of Jake Paul and his handlers, but Jalen Love, people like that, you've got to stop talking to Tyron Woodley, because in that locker room, it's not a boxing match. That's real life, and you do not want those problems. And look, I'm a fan of Jalen Love. I remember when he was Floyd Mayweather's right-hand man when he fought Manny Pacquiao back in the day. So I know how skilled Jalen Love is as a boxer. But this is not boxing. Sorry, Dorian. I just had to say that because enough's enough.
No, I totally agree with you. But my point is, I can understand why they're doing that, because you see how much, 1.5 million buys that this did. If you put Jalen Love and Tyron Woodley in for a boxing match, that's gonna do numbers. And you might put him as the co-main and Jake Paul against maybe Dylan Dennis, another grappler who's not known for his hands that Jake Paul is gonna pick on, or something like that. So I can understand. Excuse me. I can understand. But yeah, you don't want to talk to T Wood, and he won't come in the cage. None of them. Anybody who's doing celebrity boxing is talking all this smack to these MMA fighters. None of them would step in the cage. They wouldn't. And that's all I got on that. Congrats to Jake Paul, though.
Exactly. But what's the incentive to step in the cage? Because boxing, at least, it's one subsect of a mixed martial art. So it's easier to be able to channel that, especially when you're going up against a mixed martial artist who is only focusing on everything as opposed to just one thing. But with Jake Paul, for anyone out there saying it's rigged, look, you need to take a deep, long look in the mirror and realize Jake Paul is successful at whatever he puts his mind to. Granted, he's not a polished boxer just yet, or even, I don't even know if he ever will be, but the maturation process is happening. You may want to expedite it, but I think he will take his time and develop.
I agree. And we can move off that 1.5, 2-minute fight, and let's move to a fight that got canceled. On last week's UFC Fight Night, Jakar Close and Jeremy Stevens were in the co-main. They're walking up on the face-off. Lil Heathen pushes him. Get out of my face. I love it. And he's like, wait a minute, I have whiplash, I have a concussion, I can't compete. And the optics of that is, oh, how can you get hurt from a push? I don't really want to talk about that. People who say things like that, come on now. Let's just be real. You probably never done anything in your life athletically. most people know what whiplash is, but my thing is, I saw a lot of people were making a big deal about him and the purse that he was getting. He didn't know if he was going to get his money because he was like, hey, I was ready to fight. And all of a sudden, he did something at the face off that's illegal. He assaulted me. Am I still going to get my money? I still have a family to feed. And I believe Dana came out and said he got his show money, but he didn't get his win bonus, which I don't agree with. I think Jeremy Stevens should be fined. And I think you got to give Close his win bonus because he did everything right. And in an age where COVID can take a card down like that, we saw it with Gilbert Burns, we saw it with Chimaev, we saw it with Leon Edwards, like that, your main event can be gone. If you get to the point where, hey, we're at the face off, it's going to happen tomorrow, and you jeopardize that with a push. And granted, I'm not saying don't touch each other in the face-offs because I like to see it too. We all love John Jones, throw DC off the stage. We love to see things like that. But no injuries came about that. And this is something I think Jeremy Stevens should have gotten some of his purse taken away and given to Jakar Close. What do you think about that?
I hate seeing this. And the reason why is because fighters do not get paid to fight on Friday if it's a Saturday night fight. They get paid for Saturday night. Anything that happens on that stage could potentially jeopardize it. I remember back at, I think it was UFC 226, when Daniel Cormier and Stipe Miocic first fought. The press conference, which was, I believe, Wednesday of that week, DC almost hurt his leg because there was a barrier behind the seats. That something as minuscule as that could have jeopardized that fight. Now take into account a push. The reason why I don't like this is because it's that added element of danger that doesn't need to be there. Okay, look, I love Dana White. I love Sean Shelby as much as the next person, but I don't think they should be in the middle of those guys. They have security guards for a reason. But you know what? Just say you keep Sean Shelby, you keep Dana White in the middle of them. There needs to be an incentive not to do that. So what do I mean by that? I mean the state athletic commissions and the UFC need to step up and start fining guys, whether it's percentages of their purses or whatever it is, whether it's taking a purse away from somebody or part of a purse. Something needs to happen because this is not okay. Cub Swanson even commented about it on Twitter that night and said, you should not be allowed to touch your opponent at the weigh-in. Shouldn't be allowed. And I agree 100%. Look, I love physicality. I love when the fighters kind of bump heads and start talking. But to shove somebody, especially at such a forceful clip and a forceful rate that Jeremy Stevens did, and for people to make fun of Jakar Close, it's terrible. And Jakar Close deserved to get paid at the very least his show money. I personally think the UFC probably could have done him a favor and give him the win bonus as well, because he would have been ready if it wasn't for that. I think they could have threw him a little bit of a bone because he didn't want that to happen. And also, I feel so bad for Jakar Close. I feel bad for Jeremy Stevens too, because he didn't mean for that to happen. I think he was just emotionally invested. I'm not defending it, but I can understand why someone would feel bad for him. But Jakar Close, coming off of a knockout loss at UFC 248, and then this happens, you're taking food off of this man's table after this happened. I just feel so terrible for Jakar Close.
I agree 100%. And another thing that a lot of people don't factor in when they're saying, oh, it's just a push, it's just a push. These guys have just cut 15, maybe 20 pounds, maybe 25 pounds. They're dehydrated. They're depleted. They're probably dizzy standing on the scale. We saw a few weeks ago, can't think of her name, but she fainted on the scale twice. So think if you're doing a face-off 30 minutes later, you're not going to be fully hydrated. Your brain is dehydrated already. You get pushed, whiplash, concussion, anything can happen. And like you said, we love the physicality, but at the end of the day, we want physicality inside the octagon. Outside the octagon, okay, a little headbutt, maybe a little shove, but he two-hand, like, Come on, man. Jeremy, you're a vet in this game. You should know better. And I'm sure he's probably pushed a few people before and nothing like this has happened. So maybe I can't say he should know better, but you got to be smarter than that. And that's the biggest fight in recent memory for Jeremy Stevens. You have a co-main event. When's the last time he's been a co-main event? I can't tell you off the top of my head.
I know he fought Josh Emmett and Jose Aldo in 2018, but like you said, it's been a while.
It's been a while for him, and it's a huge day, and it's on ABC. This isn't just your regular Spike TV or your FS1 or your ESPN card. This is ABC. My grandma watches ABC. Everybody watches ABC. You had you had a co-main on the biggest platform, and you ruined it because you want to be a fake tough guy at the weigh-in, and now you can't even fight. You went through a whole fight camp. You cut weight for no reason. You did all these things, just no reason. But to transition into things that do have reason, I'm going to get into the title fights at UFC 261. And now the first fight I want to get into, we're going to start with the ladies. Jessica Andrade challenges Valentina the Bullet Shevchenko for the flyweight strap. Who you got?
This may surprise you, Dorian. I have Jessica Andrade winning. I know it's crazy and it is extremely disrespectful to the woman who I have as the second best female fighter currently in the UFC. But the reason why I have Jessica Andrade getting it done is her power. And I know that's a very cliche thing to say, and it probably doesn't sound too difficult or involved of a thing to say. But look what she did back in May 2019 to Rose Namajunas. Dropped her on her head. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen now, but in her last fight back in Abu Dhabi, October 17th, she stopped Caitlin Chuchagian with a body shot.
Mm-hmm.
That's how powerful she is. If there's anyone in this division that I think in the flyweight division that can take down Valentina Shevchenko, it's Jessica Andrade. She has the power. Now, I will say this, though. She has to get off to a hot start because the Bullet is not going anywhere. If you don't take her out, good luck. And the reason why I have confidence about saying that in this fight, Jessica Andrade could win is because Jennifer Maia, back in November, won a round against Valentina Shevchenko. Dorian, when was the last time, maybe aside from Amanda Nunes, someone has won a round against Valentina Shevchenko?
Nobody at flyweight has until she did that. It was round 2, I believe.
Yeah. So, and I say that, if Jennifer Maia could do that, don't you think Jessica Andrade could get it done? So that's what I'm saying. I love Valentina, but Jessica Andrade, although back in July she lost to Rose Namajunas, it was a very close fight. It was a split decision that, in my estimation, could have gone either way. You thought she won. I thought it really could have gone either way, and easily she could have been 2-0 against Rose, but now she's 1-1. I like Jessica Andrade's chances. I like the fact that she's the underdog and she could shock the world. I think she will.
I like that. I like that take from you. First off, I want to say I wrote an article about my 261 predictions, guys. Go check that out. But I'll give you a little more in depth than what I wrote. First off, I like your pick of Andrade. I'm not against that. I have Shevchenko winning ultimately, but I think it's important to note this is Andrade's second fight at flyweight. So she's no longer cutting that extra 10 pounds when she was fighting Rose. And you talk about the power it takes to pick someone up, turn them and dunk them on their head and knock them out unconscious. She doesn't have to cut those extra pounds anymore. She's going to be even stronger. But, and it is a huge but, you got to close the distance against Valentina, and that's not easy at all. Valentina's going to punch, kick, knee, elbow, clinch. I don't think Valentina's game plan will be to clinch, but I don't think she'll be able to get inside of Valentina's just hands too quick, feet too quick. She's just more of a technical striker. It's harder to get to her. Now, granted, if Andrade does get to her and takes her down, we have a totally completely different fight, and anything's possible. We've seen it with Jan Blachowicz and Izzy Adesanya. No one thought Izzy was going to get taken down in that, but he did, and we saw how that ended. Now, something that isn't talked about with Andrade, although she is stronger, maybe physically, she's only 5'1". She's the smaller of the two. Valentina's going to have the reach advantage. She's going to have the height advantage. Andrade is going to have to punch up at someone who's faster than her, which is never a good recipe for success. Valentina can punch down at a shorter opponent and circle out. I think Valentina's ultimately faster. I don't think there's any argument there. When it comes to the feet, there's nothing Andrade can do. If she doesn't get this fight to the ground, it's going to get very, very ugly, very, very quick. Because like you said, she got to come out quick start, hot start, come out, push the action, push Valentina up against the cage, take her down, do what she can. But if she doesn't, which I don't believe she will be able to close that distance, I see this being maybe 4 rounds to 1, maybe 3-2, a unanimous decision for Valentina. I don't think she'll be able to take her out because I think Andrade's a little tougher, at flyweight. Like I said, doesn't have to cut that extra 10 pounds, so her cardio is going to be a little better. But I think Valentina's going to drag her into those later rounds, beat her down, pick her apart, ultimately go home with the strap, and still.
You make a good point. But again, I just didn't like what I saw in that particular round against Jennifer Maia. Absolutely, there was a rally from Valentina Shevchenko. She acted like that round didn't exist. But you know what? Jennifer Maia, Jessica Andrade, 2 different animals. They're not in the same league. If you make a mistake against a former champion like Jessica Andrade, she is going to make you pay for it. And you said it yourself, Dorian. She doesn't have to cut the same amount of weight that she had to in the past. So now I think she has more stamina to last, which makes her just as dangerous. And yes, Valentina Shevchenko is lethal in the pocket. But you know what? If there is just an iota of an opening, just a sliver of an opening, I think Jessica Andrade can find that hole and possibly either knock her down or find a way to take her down and then maul her.
Yeah, and I mean, there's always a puncher's chance, right? So with that being said, yeah, Andrade could catch her, but I haven't seen Valentina caught in a long, long time. And Jennifer Maia didn't even catch her. You know, that it wasn't a dominant, it wasn't like a 10-8 round she won. It was just like, oh my God, Valentina can lose a round? Like, we didn't know that. So it was a little, I get what you're saying though, but we can agree to disagree there. I think we'll see next Thursday who was right. But now another fight I want to get into. Ladies, we're showing you a lot of love on this card. I love it. My personal pick for fight of the night, Thug Rose Namajunas against Yang Wei Li. Now, let me go first with this one because Thug Rose is one of my favorite fighters. Wei Li is a different breed, though. And I was doing a little research earlier. I was on YouTube looking at some highlights, and I'm like, wow, okay. And I checked her record. Did you know Wei Li lost her first fight and has won 20 straight since then? That's
21.
it. 21 straight. That's nuts. And I'm thinking, and in the back of my head, you know what I said? That doesn't matter. You're only as good as your last performance. And her last performance was against Jacek, fight of the year. She beat her. But that war that she went through is going to take a toll on her. She finally faced a little adversity. She had to win round 4. She had to win round 5. And Rose, being a former champion, losing to Andrade, like you said, she's already faced that adversity. So I think Rose is coming in. The pressure's not on her. The pressure's on Wei Li. Rose is going to come in and beat her. Not only will she beat her, I think she will make Wei Li look as if she doesn't belong in the ring with her. Now, it might be blasphemous to say. I have Rose by submission, What I don't think is going to happen is just like she says, I'm gonna come in, beat her up, take her back, choke her out. That's not gonna happen. Whaley's way too tough for that. You're gonna have to put her to sleep, or you're gonna have to break one of her arms. She's not gonna tap. She's tough. She's built. She's everything. But when it comes to the overall game, I think Whaley might be a faster striker, maybe better. But Thug Rose working with Trevor Whitman, I'm putting nothing past her striking. And I think Rose has the advantage everywhere else. I think she's stronger in the clinch. I think she has a better top game. I think if she takes her down, she's going to keep her down. And not for nothing, if we're going to talk about what Wei did against Jacek, which is what we have in mind, Rose knocked Jacek out first fight. So she did that within a round, and Wei couldn't do that in 25 minutes. Now, granted, Jacek's forehead was out here the size of a bloated turkey, but she didn't knock her out. So when it comes to striking power, maybe Jacek just got caught. In the second fight, obviously they went the distance, but I think it's going to change for Wei, and I think that she hasn't been taken down. This is going to be the first time she's taken down. We're going to see if she has any jiu-jitsu off the back. Can she get any sweeps? Can she flip Rose over? Can we see Rose on her back? We haven't seen that in a long time. But I think Rose gets it done via submission. We just haven't seen enough of Wei on the ground. What do you think?
I understand where you're coming from, but I cannot go against Zhang Weili. Of everything that we missed out on during the pandemic, for me, up there is not seeing Zhang Weili. And you know what? You said something about Weili, that war she was in, taking a toll on her, which again, I do think it may have. But the one thing that benefits her is that she's had over 13 months to recover and recuperate. I think that will do her some good in this fight. Now, for the actual fight itself, I just think, technically speaking, Zhang Weili, to me, and I'm sure you'll disagree, is a better striker. Now, on the ground, Rose has her there, but Zhang Weili, she knows what she's doing. Back on August 31st, 2019, she knocked out Jessica Andrade. She has lethal power in her hands. And look, this again, I don't necessarily know if it's going to produce a hematoma the size that Joanna Jacek had back in March 2020. But I think it, again, is going to be a split decision that is going to go in favor of Zhang Weili, because Rose Namajunas is as game and as ready as they come. But to me, Zhang Weili, with a 20-1 record, she's on a 20-fight tear. I don't think Rose Namajunas is going to be the fighter in the strawweight division to take her out. I want to say this, though. There is one fighter that I do think eventually can stop her. It's not Rose Namajunas. It is Mackenzie Dern. I think in about a year or so, Mackenzie Dern will fight for that belt and will be the strawweight champion. That's what I think. I don't see it being Rose.
That's interesting, because now if you think Mackenzie Dern can beat her, that means you think she's going to be able to get her down and submit her, right?
Yeah.
Because she's not going to Mackenzie Dern is not going to outstrike Weili.
No, she doesn't have to. She doesn't have to, though.
But I feel like granted, Mackenzie Dern's jiu-jitsu is higher level. We've seen a higher level of it than Rose. But I think Rose, when she gets on top, she's not letting up. The only way she's getting up is if that bell rings and she's saved by it. And I love Weili. If this fight goes either way, I mean, I'm going to be mad. It's going to mess my parlay up. But I think this is fight of the night. And that's saying a lot, because the next fight, you know who we got next, right? We have the Nigerian nightmare, undefeated in the UFC, Kamaru Usman, defending his welterweight strap against Street Jesus, a.k.a. Game Bread, Jorge Masvidal. Oh, my God. Who do you have and why?
All right. Let me start here. I want to tip my cap to Jorge Masvidal. In his 18th year professional fighting, his 50th professional fight in mixed martial arts, he's fighting for his second time in a title fight. If you want to say the BMF title, then make it the third. But the longevity this guy has had is terrific. I've been a fan of his back when he fought in Strikeforce. I remember watching him against Gilbert Melendez. He's terrific. Now, to get to my prediction, I think Kamaru Usman is going to win. And the reason why he's going to win is because it's going to be a much closer fight. And I think his cardio, because whether it's 6 days to prepare for a fight or a whole camp like Jorge Masvidal has, I still think he has much better cardio than Masvidal. But again, it's going to be a much closer fight because back in Abu Dhabi in July, Jorge Masvidal stuffed 11 of his takedowns. When does that happen? It never happens. So obviously, Jorge Masvidal has jumped leaps and bounds, okay? But I just personally think even if Kamaru Usman gets clipped by Jorge Masvidal, which could be a possibility, and honestly, it wouldn't shock me if it happens, I still think his chin is tough enough to get back up and fight it out because, look, his cardio is second to none. He has cardio for days. And I know I keep saying it. This is going to be a much closer fight, Dorian. When I'm examining this fight with UFC 251, I have to throw 251 out of the window because it is two complete different circumstances. Look, Jorge Masvidal to cut 22 pounds in 6 days, that is difficult. For Kamaru Usman to completely prepare for a totally different opponent, how hard is that? That's pretty hard too, especially when he caught a flight to Dallas, had to go back to Vegas and then do everything. So I think Saturday night we are going to see these two fighters at their very best. I just think even if Kamaru Usman is able to get him down 5 times like he did last time, I think it will be enough for him to ride out a decision victory. And Dorian, before I turn back to you, I also want to say this. We live in a world where, guess what? Jorge Masvidal could very well knock out Kamaru Usman. I'm not saying he can't because right now in the welterweight division, there are 4 fighters who could really pose a threat. Those 4 fighters, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Gilbert Burns, Khamzat Chimaev, and Jorge Masvidal. And it's those 4 fighters with their striking. I think they could pose a threat. But look, we saw how resilient Kamaru Usman can be when he gets dropped. He did it against Gilbert Burns. He was even hit hard by Colby Covington, and he was able to recover in both of those fights. I think if that happens, he will be able to recover and ride his way to a split decision victory.
Okay, so one thing that I like that you brought up, people always give Masvidal all of the credit. Oh, 6 days notice. You had to cut 22 pounds. Oh my gosh. You're the greatest. Even though he beat you all 5 rounds, you'll get him in a full camp. Listen, Jorge Masvidal had just beaten Nate Diaz was his last fight before that.
Yeah.
He had been in training camp for nobody because he didn't take the Colby fight. He thought, hey, I'm going to just wait for Usman. So he had been training and training and training and training. And I get training isn't in training camp, so there's a difference. I understand. But when you're at that level and you're in a division where you think, hey, I'm going to be next in line for the champion, you've been training for Kamaru Usman for months, Jorge. Stop lying to everybody. Now, cutting 22 pounds in 6 days, extremely hard. I wouldn't suggest it. Wouldn't recommend it for anybody. But he got the call and he said, hey, Dana, I will make championship weight, which is 170 and not a half pound over, because if I knock him out and I don't get the belt, I'm going to be mad at myself. So he put the onus on himself. Hey, whatever weight I'm at, yeah, I can make it. Yeah, I can fly 12 hours and still make weight. Okay. So he put that on himself. People love to say he took the fight on 6 days notice and Kamaru didn't finish him. Well, let's be honest. Jorge, he's been finished before because, like you said, this is his 50th fight. So you're gonna have some ups and downs at 50, unless you're Floyd. But yeah, he's been finished before. He's been knocked out. He's been submitted. But Jorge's tough. It's not like everyone's finishing Jorge and Usman couldn't. And people may say, oh, he held on to him, he stomped, he threw shoulder strikes. What did you want him to do? Because his whole game plan was, hey, and then let's look at Kamaru's side. Hey, you have to fight your former teammate. You left the gym because he was the next one in line for the welterweight strap, and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna go to Colorado, work with Trevor Whitman, get my striking better. I can't get any better here. You guys think this? He called Gilbert Burns the JV team. He said, you guys think the JV team can beat me? I'm varsity. Okay, I'll leave the gym. Have fun with that. He's training mentally. I have to fight my friend. I've been fighting my friend every day in sparring, but not for my belt. You put my belt on the line, and it's so many emotions that go through your head. Gilbert Burns' ground game you have to worry about. You have to worry about Gilbert Burns in the clinch. Those are things you have to worry about. Boom, Gilbert Burns gets COVID. Boom, Masvidal takes the fight. Masvidal and Burns are polar opposites. Now, Burns has fell in love with his hands lately. You know, he knocked out Damian Maia. He outstruck Tyron Woodley. Okay, but let's be real. Gilbert Burns is a grappler turned boxer. Masvidal has been a boxer, a stand-up fighter since the day we first saw him in Kimbo's backyard. So his whole mindset had to change. His game plan had to change. I'm sure he wanted to take him down and beat him like Khabib does. But like you said, Masvidal was stuffing takedowns left and right. You got to remember he's an American top team. He's been working with Colby for all those years. Colby's no scrub wrestling. Colby's a great wrestler. I'm sure Masvidal's takedown defense reflects that. I think he has a 75% takedown defense. And Usman's an amazing wrestler in his own right. Only could get him down a handful of times out of, I think he shot 16 times.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, if I can't take you down and hold you down, I'm just going to hold you in the clinch. Because why am I going to stand up and box with you, Masvidal? That's your strength. That's not my strength. And now, what I do like, Usman didn't beat him and then say, hey, you're next. Hey, you're next. He said, no. You took that fight because you had an excuse. Ain't no excuses now. Get your full camp. Come meet me. And they're both from Florida, so I don't know who's closer. They're in Jacksonville. I don't know who's closer. But in your hometown, he's giving Jorge everything Jorge is asking for. And as a champion, when do you ever see that? Usually the champion's the one who's getting accommodated to. He said, Jorge, I'll do it in Florida. You don't have to fly out to Abu Dhabi again. I'll give you a full camp. You don't have to worry. I just beat Burns. Don't worry. 3 pay-per-views later, I'm on that card too. I'll bless, and he said it perfectly. I'm going to bless you with the opportunity to fight me again because you didn't earn it. After he beat him, Masvidal didn't take any fights. He's sitting around saying, oh, give me a full camp, I can beat him. Give me a full camp, I can beat him. You got to earn it. And with that being said, I think people are underestimating Kamaru Usman striking. I think people should look back at his fights and who he has fought. Kamaru Usman has never in the UFC been outstruck. And now you're saying, oh, he holds guys down. No. He's fought strikers. He fought Leon Edwards. He's fought James Krause. He's fought Colby Covington, who's not the best striker, but they had a war. He fought Gilbert Burns. He's beating these people and outstriking these people who are known or now known for their good hands and good boxing. It's not crazy for me to say Usman might knock Masvidal out on the feet.
You know what? I don't see that happen. Let me play devil's advocate here, okay? And again, I think Kamaru Usman's going to win, but also, if I was someone who wasn't paying close attention to this fight and I just saw the headline, someone was knocked out or someone went to decision, if someone's getting knocked out, it's going to be Kamaru Usman. If this fight goes to decision, Kamaru Usman is going to win the fight. That's how it's going to work. Jorge Masvidal will win by knockout. Kamaru Usman will win by decision. But here's the thing, and here's what we need to remember. Again, I'm playing devil's advocate here. A full crowd at the VyStar Arena in Florida, technically both of their home states, but it's really Jorge Masvidal's home state. If I had to guess, the crowd will be there mostly for Jorge Masvidal,
Right.
and everything will be on Jorge Masvidal's side. Because if you're looking at the difference between these two fights, the pendulum has swung in Masvidal's favor. Usman's still the favorite in this fight, but there is a little bit of an edge that wasn't there the last time. You have a full crowd, so it's that extra energy to get amped up on. And also, if Gilbert Burns can knock down Kamaru Usman, don't you think Jorge Masvidal can? I think he can as well. And if that is the case, Dorian, it may be lights out. Again, I don't think that's going to happen, but someone who does support Masvidal would say that. What do you say?
And I understand you're playing devil's advocate here. And for the record, I pick Kamaru Usman. I say it's going to be TKO. I think he drops him, gets on him, finishes him. But Gilbert Burns knocked Kamaru Usman down. Technically, I mean, his hand hit the ground. Okay. But you got a circumstance. That was very early in the fight, and it was right away. Now, Gilbert Burns has been sparring with Usman for years. This isn't the same as someone who's been in the ring with Usman for 25 minutes who never really got the beat on him on the feet. Like, yeah, they came out, Masvidal, boom, kick. Masvidal, boom, kick. But when Masvidal got held, his cardio didn't hold up. And his cardio doesn't hold up.
Wait, Dorian, we got a special guest who may disagree. Malik, what do you have to say about this, buddy?
Let me get this last point off, Malik, because I know you're going to kill me and you're a super Masvidal fan. I love Jorge just as much as the next guy. But what I will say, he took the fight on 6 days' notice. So did Kamaru. You're giving Kamaru Usman a full fight camp, and you pissed the wrong guy off. He's not someone you want to call out and piss off because he beat you when he wasn't pissed, and he beat you when he wasn't at his best. So now he's at his best. Jorge, you going to get what you asked for. Malik, take it away.
I'm just putting this tweet out right now because I want people to witness this and witness
I love this.
I'm glad that you just brought this up. And I had to ask permission. Is it okay if I came in here to state my opinion and stuff like that? Because I obviously don't want to hijack you guys' show.
But you're welcome anytime.
I appreciate that, guys, and you guys do an amazing job. Dorian, the exact reason how you see this fight playing out is the exact reason why Kamaru Usman is going to lose. Let me say that again. The exact reason how you see this fight playing out is the exact reason why Usman is going to lose. Let me tell you something. If we're talking about the keys to victory for Kamaru Usman, right? If you came out and you said, Malik, Kamaru Usman's game plan is the same how it was last time. It'll be a little bit more difficult, but he's going to grind his way to a victory, right? I would agree with you. Kamaru Usman is the better all-around mixed martial artist out of him and Jorge Masvidal. But let me explain something to you. The reason why he took this fight, right, is because pride is a hell of a thing. Mm-hmm. Pride is a hell of a thing. Pride comes before the fall. He made a mistake by accepting this rematch. He also made a mistake because let me tell you what's going to happen, depending on who the referee is. With the audience, with the crowd being back inside the UFC octagon, Kamaru Usman's not going to be able to hold Jorge Masvidal against the cage anymore. They're going to be pulling them apart. And Dana White in a recent interview even mentioned that that's going to be a big factor. Remember, the crowd is going to play a huge factor. They're trying to put on a huge show for the first time that we have fans back inside the UFC audience. So if we know how hard it was to keep Jorge Masvidal take him down to the ground, let alone keep him there. So imagine if Kamaru Usman in a packed stadium tries to hold Jorge Masvidal against the cage. What are you going to hear, Michael Daly?
You may hear and no.
You may hear boo.
Yeah, you're going to hear a bunch of boo.
Split them up. And that's all about judgment at that point. Just as fast as you saw in the Triller Boxing Club, where you saw some of the referees breaking guys up, you're going to see the exact same thing here because people are going to want excitement. They're going to want a big victory. They're going to want a big showing for the first time we got fans back, and it's going to be a pro Masvidal crowd. Let me explain something. I keep saying to people, the stylistically, Usman is a bad matchup for Jorge Masvidal. However, the same game plan he came in with the first time cannot be the same game plan he comes in with this time, and it's not going to be. Everything that Kamaru Usman has said during the lead up, the first lead up, he said, "I could beat this guy. I'm better than this guy. I could do this. I could do that." This time he's saying he's going to put a nail in the coffin. This time he's saying he's going to finish the job. That leads me to believe that he's going to strike with him. And if I'm going to take that from what Kamaru Usman's saying, what Marty is saying, if I'm going to take that he's going to stand with Jorge Masvidal away from everything else that he's saying, Dorian, that's going to be what undoes it, like his undoing. That's going to be his undoing. If he decides to stand with Jorge Masvidal, he's going to get knocked out. If he decides to wrestle with Jorge Masvidal, he's going to win. I said it on my show. I've been saying it for months. To me, this seems like pride is getting in the way. To me, it seems like he feels like he has something to prove. He's going to be out to make a statement because he's going to feel that he needs to make a statement. And I think the fact that he fought Gilbert Burns and stopped Gilbert Burns, I think the fact that his coach, Trevor Whitman, I think all these people are getting him a little bit amped up, and he's starting to have a little bit more faith to let his hands go. Listen, Jorge, Kamaru Usman, you probably will never see this, but understand something. You have to be perfect for 5 rounds. Jorge only has to be perfect for a second because that guy has true, listen, that guy has true knockout power. He has true knockout power, Dorian, and I know you don't want to say it.
Yeah, he does.
I think in a brief exchange with them, even when you talk about when the clinch situations, even if you talk about in the clinch situations, the guys, it's going to be a dog fight for Kamaru Usman. If you think Kamaru Usman's going to step into that cage with Jorge Masvidal and just be able to ragdoll him, you're mistaken, my man. At some point, they're going to stand. And at some point, I'm going to tell you something. If they stand for a round, give it a round. If they stand for 1 round, Jorge Masvidal is going to knock out your boy, and it's going to be new.
The reason I disagree with that is because, like me and Mike were saying earlier, everybody has a puncher's chance. Oh, this guy has knockout power. It's only going to take 1 shot. That's what we were saying in the lead up for Francis Stipe 1. Yeah. Hey, Francis just has to touch him. Stipe took him down, and then he struck with him. There's a difference.
That's also disrespectful to Jorge Masvidal. To say that a guy just has a puncher's chance. The guy's also, he's very good on the ground. He's underrated grappling. The guy can do so much. That's the reason why Kamaru had to hold him up against the cage, because he couldn't keep him on the ground.
The reason I say he has only a puncher's chance is because we have never seen Jorge take anyone down and keep them there and beat them. And not only haven't seen that, Usman hasn't been taken down in his career ever.
Sure. 100%, yeah.
His wrestling defense alone is going to discourage Masvidal from even trying to take him down. So Masvidal's only chance is a puncher's chance. And yes, if Masvidal comes out and he flying knees Kamaru and he knocks him out, okay, I'm going to look like an idiot. But if he wears him down, he gets him in the clinch for the first round, foot stomps, pisses Jorge off again, shoulder strike. Okay, round 2, a takedown. Jorge pops back up.
There are so many elements that we're disregarding, though. The referee, the crowd, it's going to all play a factor. He's not going to be able to do that, is what I'm trying to tell you. They're not going to allow that.
What I'm trying to tell you is that the referee won't be able to save Jorge. You can break him up, but if Jorge throws a kick and Kamaru catches it and takes him down again, you got to live with that.
But
and
also,
I'm not saying
Jorge has one of the best defensive ground games. He has one of the best. Those hammer fists and elbows that he throws. Remember, that's the reason why Kamaru Usman didn't want to take him down again in the full guard position, right? And that's one of Usman's. That's one of his favorite positions to be in, because Jorge Masvidal literally was throwing elbows, backhanded fists. I mean, he was literally just lighting the guy up. Usman got discouraged. And if you remember in that fight, I think people forget, not saying you do, but I think a lot of our audience do forget. Usman was covering up. He had Jorge, and then he was covering up because Jorge's throwing backhands and elbows and literally just trying to do everything. And then that's what gave Jorge the little slithering to get up with him. And then that's when he came in and he broke his nose. I'm just
no. He broke his nose 2 weeks before. He did.
He did not break his nose.
Yes, he did.
Before. No, he did. That is a bull crap excuse, and that's something that he came out with and said after the fact. There's literally a shot.
Yeah, but Malik, why is he going to say that before the fight? Why is he going to talk about his nose being broken? If anything, Masvidal broke it more.
That's what Usman said. That's what Usman does. Usman literally mimics Conor McGregor. I mean, this is what the guy does. The guy does not know how to sell a fight. The guy is literally just saying anything. He does not want to give Jorge Masvidal the satisfaction. Because let me tell you something. The day after that fight happened, the night that happened, the night all that crap happened, he would have said immediately, nope, I broke my nose. I broke my nose 2 weeks before. He wouldn't have said, he would even, you know how Kamaru Usman is. He would have been like, you know what? I even came into this fight with a broken nose. He didn't say that. He waited until the lead up to this fight to then reveal he had a broken nose.
But Justin Gaethje said it back in July, though. Justin Gaethje didn't say that.
I don't believe it.
I think whether you believe it or not, say the elbow broke his nose.
Sure.
With all he could have broke his orbital, he could have broke his nose, he could have broke his jaw. Mm-hmm. He got dominated for 24.5 minutes straight.
I don't think that will happen this time, though.
Neither do I, and I hope it doesn't, because that wouldn't be fun for me to watch. Because I can just watch the first one if I wanted to see that. But what I do think is Usman can wear him down, get him tired, because Jorge's gas tank, his cardio hasn't been pushed. We saw in the Nate Diaz fight at the later half of the third round, Nate Diaz started to win the fight in the second half of the third. I'm not going to say I'm not going to say Nate would have won in the fourth and the fifth. I'm not going to say that because we know Nate's scar tissue. He's bloody. Okay, I get it. Stop the fight. But let's be real here. Jorge huffing and puffing, and you're punching a guy, Nate Diaz, who invites getting punched. Hey, punch me. That's his thing. He'll smack you in your face, smack you, flip you off, punch me back, do something. Usman's not doing that. Usman's head movement, his shoulders it's just, I'm telling you, Malik, and I know.
Usman has great stand-up, you're saying, basically. So Usman doesn't have a tendency to dip his head.
Usman has a tendency to dip his head, but I don't think Masvidal will have the wherewithal to make that adjustment.
Let me stop you right there. Camera shot. Do you know that's the one thing Usman has an issue with, right? When he goes into all his fights, he tends to dip his head a lot when he's trying to lead in and trying to put that pressure on you. That's how Gilbert Burns caught him. Caught him, right? And I got something else to tell you, Dorian. It literally happens every one of his fights. He tries to dip his head, and then they get a good shot on him. That's also the shot that Masvidal landed on him in the first fight. The shot that he said he quote unquote broke his nose with. He dipped in and he elbowed him. Mm-hmm. Usman has a bad habit of that. Listen, I keep telling everybody the way I see this fight playing out, guys, I just can't escape it. And I'm not a Masvidal homer. If I really felt I believe in Usman. I think Usman is a great fighter. No,
you're a Masvidal homer.
No, he's not.
No, I'm not. Because I literally said on my show yesterday, there's one guy who in the welterweight division who I think could be both of them, and that's Khamzat Chimaev. But that's another question. That's another story for another day. I think Khamzat Chimaev would beat both of them because I think he would take them both to the ground and literally ground and pound them. That's what I think would happen to both of those guys. But what I was saying was I think that Jorge Masvidal, I keep seeing the scenario play over and over and over in my head. I just see a situation in where they're standing for a brief moment. He hits Usman, and then that knocks him off knocks his balance off. And I just see, come on, I don't see Jorge getting a full-fledged like one punch knockout. I see one of those things where he catches him, Usman's backing up against the cage, and then Jorge goes in for another, and then he literally just he's literally hammering him on the ground. I really feel that way. And because it's such a pro Florida crowd, and because you know how popular this is. Listen, I don't want to talk about the optics and all that kind of stuff, but we can't ignore the fact that a referee might be more prone to stop the fight. Right. With if that situation arises. I do not see a scenario in which, well, I can see a scenario in which, but I just don't think Usman's game plan is going to allow the scenario for him to walk out of Jacksonville with the welterweight championship. Because I think if they did a rematch, he would beat Jorge. But I think this time around, I think he's letting pride get in the way. I genuinely do.
Let me be objective here.
Yeah.
In that first fight, I'm going to say I think Jorge Masvidal won the first round, or maybe he edged him out, because if you remember, yes, he depleted his body for really 5 days, if you want to say 4, because he had to make the weigh-in.
22 days.
He was kind of fresh, though. Although he was depleted, he was really fresh coming in that first round.
Yeah,
Blasted him with light kicks. Kamaru Usman has to be careful, because if he gets too big for his own britches, that's where the problem could lie. I do want to say this, though. I think we need to put a little bit more respect on Trevor Whitman's name. I know he does coach a lot of strikers, but he also knows the fighter he's dealing with Kamaru Usman, and he's going to tell him, look, you need to go back to that well. If you remember, when Kamaru Usman was really upset after the fight, he said, hey, look, don't get upset. We wrestled him, and we won. And I think that's what Trevor Whitman will be hammering home.
But, Michael, I agree with you 100%. Only thing that my argument is, I agree 110% with that scenario. And I think Trevor Whitman is a phenomenal coach. I really do. And I know he would like to leave, Jacksonville with two champions, right? But the fact of the matter is, I think that mistake that Jorge Masvidal makes, I don't think with the mistake that Kamaru Usman makes, I don't think the type of fighter that Jorge Masvidal is. He's so cerebral, and he's like an assassin. I don't think Usman would make it to the next round to get that coaching from that coach.
Yeah, no,
I think
Jorge's clever.
Yeah, I do not. I think the moment we see Usman's legs go out from under him, and it's going to be a shocking moment for everyone else besides me. But I'm telling you, I'm telling you, like
you're so funny, Malik.
I'm just being honest.
I'm glad you joined. No, because I'm glad you joined, because me and Mike agree, and it's good to have someone on Jorge's side. I don't want to look like I'm picking on Jorge, but you brought up a good point, Mike.
Yeah.
After the fight, he said, look, we wrestled him, we won, you got the job done.
Wait, why would Jorge stop? You make a great point. I'm going to let you continue. I just don't want to lose this train of thought. Why would Usman take this fight if he was going to come in with the same strategy that he wasn't satisfied with? Are you guys following what I'm saying? No. Yes, money is involved, but he's the champion. He's going to get money. That doesn't mean. I'm saying the guy is literally letting pride get in the way. He wasn't happy because he wrestled with the guy. And I think that's going to be his, like, why you were a champion. You dominated him for 3 rounds. Some even argue, for 4 rounds. Some even argue 5. Why would you feel compelled to fight him again? Why were you so unhappy with wrestling? That's pride, guys. That's pride.
Yeah.
Okay. So to rebuttal that real quick, I think he was unhappy that Jorge continued to talk. And even immediately after the fight was over, They dapped each other up, and Jorge said, that was on 6 days. Give me a full camp and I can beat you. And like Usman's looking like really? Like Usman was just caught off guard because Jorge is still talking, but that's what Jorge does. So back to my point, it was in between rounds 2 and 3 of Gilbert Burns. Mind you, Usman doesn't sit on the stool. It might be a Nigerian thing because Izzy doesn't sit on the stool either in between rounds, but that's neither here nor there. So Usman's standing and they're like, breathe. Whitman goes, Usman, you're a champion because of your jab. That one thing got in his head. 2 minutes later, Usman jabs Burns, knocks him out. If Trevor Whitman goes but you say it's not going to get to the second round. I think
I didn't say he's not going to get to the second round. I said I think if Jorge clips him, I don't think he's making it to the next round.
Okay, well, yes, fair. But I think it's going to go – I think this goes at least 3 rounds regardless, just because I think Usman wears him down before he tries to strike with him, which is the smart thing to do. But if Whitman says that one word, hey, jab, hey, wrestle, hey, whatever he says, Kamaru's like a robot. He's going to follow that. And Jorge doesn't have the type of cardio that Usman does. We've seen Usman's cardio hold up for 5 rounds against Colby, who's a cardio machine. Colby's known for breaking dudes.
They struck the entire fight, though, bro.
Okay, but why did they strike? Because Colby wasn't trying to take him down.
He wasn't trying to take Colby down.
Okay, because he didn't fear Colby on the feet. And I don't think he fears Jorge on the feet.
And that's a mistake. That's a mistake. I think we're agreeing on the same thing. That's the mistake he's going to make. That's going to be his fatal flaw. He's going to underestimate Jorge on the feet. And what I'm saying to you is if he does that, he gets clipped. It's not going to be like, oh, I get clipped. Let me go back to my wrestling. I'm saying if he gets clipped, Jorge's
It's over.
Burns hits him, and Burns looks shocked that he actually hurt him. Burns looks shocked. We call that in boxing taking a picture. We see Conor do it all the time. Conor throws a jab, and Conor throws a left, and then Conor looks at his opponent to see how you reacted to a shot. Jorge has a savage mentality. He will literally hit you, see you get rocked, and he'll start going in, hitting you with elbows. And then I could just see a scenario where we see Usman trying to dive at his leg and things. That's what I'm saying, guys. Like, I'm agreeing with you, Dorian, right? I don't think that it's gonna be just like, oh, Jorge hits me. Let me go back to being a robot. Let me go grab him. I don't see it going that way. I think like a robot is gonna be like water getting poured on a robot. He's gonna be like, wait, what the hell? What the hell did I just get hit with?
But
and
he can recover though. I do think he has what it takes to recover if it is the case.
But if Jorge, he has what it takes to recover if the guy takes gives
him an opportunity.
Jorge is an absolute savage. You could agree. Listen, Jorge had Darren Till hurt, and if you heard what Jorge said in all his interviews, and I can attest to this because I've seen it on all his fights, he genuinely believes his job is not to hit you and let you just wreck. He wants to hit you until you stop moving. We saw it with Darren Till. We saw it with Nate Diaz. He was breaking Nate Diaz down. Nate Diaz down. And I see this going the same way. I think if he hits Usman, it's not going to be a thing of, oh, wow, I hit Usman, because I think he genuinely believes he can stop Usman. He hurts Usman. I think he's going in for the kill.
But you know what, Malik? I do want to bring up Usman has that wrestler's mentality, whether it's physically getting taken down or knocked down. The moment he finds himself falling, he's ready to get back up. That's the difference in this fight. I will say this, though, because I said it earlier. Jorge Masvidal isn't Gilbert Burns. If Jorge Masvidal touches you, it's probably lights out. So that's why, and I'm glad I'm not a betting man because I would be a little bit nervous betting for Usman in this fight. But still, I like Kamaru Usman's chances because you know what? He has the second longest winning streak of all time, and he has the longest active winning streak. That counts for something in my book.
All impressive stuff.
Yeah.
But again, pride comes before the fall. Pride comes before the fall.
I don't know if it will in this fight, though. I don't know. Ben Askren, it did. This one, I don't know if it will.
Pride, listen. If pride didn't come before the fall, right? If pride didn't come before the fall, he wouldn't have jumped back in and gave this guy. He wouldn't have been unhappy with the fact that he won the fight.
Sure.
In a dominant fashion. This guy's going to go out here. He's going to do the crazy thing. Everything you guys are our smartest guys when it comes to MMA at TWSN. That's why you guys have this show. You guys are the smartest guys. And I genuinely believe if you need to corner somebody, I'm not saying teach somebody, but if you need to corner somebody, you guys absolutely could because you have the wits about you, right? Fighters aren't always the smartest human beings. Fighters aren't always the smartest human beings, which is why you have a coach, which is why you have somebody for guidance. Listen, we can give people all the keys to victory all day, and Jorge knows. I mean, Usman knows the keys to victory. Usman knows that he has to incorporate wrestling. I'm just simply here to tell you guys, and everything that this guy has said during his interview, it sounds like he's going to do the absolute batshit crazy thing. And a lot of people who bet it for him, who put money down on Usman to win this fight, are going to be pissed the hell off if this guy stands and strikes with Jorge Masvidal come Saturday night. Because I genuinely believe he will.
Okay. Well, we can. The good thing about it is we don't have to fight, so we can watch it on Saturday night. And I'm gonna text you, Malik. I'm like, hey, hope you got your popcorn ready. And Usman walks out, and Bruce Buffer announces his name, and and you're gonna look at him, and you're gonna be like, Dorian, you know what? You were right. He's about to knock Jorge Masvidal out. And I'm like, that's all I wanted to hear.
You know what's crazy, Dorian? You don't even believe that.
I do. Third round knockout. Third round TKO. Third round TKO.
If anything, it's going to go to decision.
The only way Usman wins this fight is by decision.
Yeah. That's how I have it going. Split decision. It's going to be much closer.
All the reason why is going to be in the back of his head. I can't let this fight go to decision. For that split second in the third round, let me stand with him. The guy's had a camp. He's going to stand with him. He's going to get dropped. Pride. This fight is happening because of pride, guys. It's pride. It's not difficult. This fight is happening because of pride. Usman is letting pride get in the way. He's letting pride get in the way.
I can agree with you on that one. I do think, lastly, what I'll say is he said it best. After he beat Gilbert Burns, he looking, where the camera's at? There's a camera. Put some respect on my name. Looking at this camera, you taking what from who? Jorge is taking what from who? Jorge is not knocking anybody out anytime soon. He should have took the Colby fight. He should have took another fight. Maybe when Poirier knocks Conor out, Conor moves up to 170, we can get Jorge Conor. I want to see that next. But we don't know what's next for Masvidal, because after Usman 2-0s him, we don't want to see that again.
I can't wait. Am I invited back on the show next Thursday?
You're always invited.
Yeah.
We're going to see. We're going to see.
If Usman wins, will you want to come on?
Sure, I'll come on and I'll see I was wrong if this happens. But I am the exact how confident I was back in 2015 about Khabib beating Conor McGregor back when they first had that first run in and all that kind of stuff. I'm this confident right now. I'm that confident. Jorge Masvidal is going to be, and the only reason why it's not because I'm disrespecting Kamaru Usman. Let's not get that twisted. It's because I think Kamaru Usman is going to make a fatal flaw in this fight. I think he's going to try to stand with him and prove a point. And
you could be right. You could be right.
It's not a good thing. But if he wrestles with him, he's going to win. If he wrestles with him and tries to grind it out that way, he's going to win the fight. But if he tries to stand with him, he's going to lose the fight. And I think I believe he's going to stand. He's going to stand with him and get clipped.
All right. Well, like you said, if he wrestles, he wins. If he strikes, he loses. That's a fair assessment, I guess. I can't really disagree.
Dorian, you have to just ask yourself, right? You're an MMA guy. You're a combat sports guy. Ask yourself, money aside, right? Because he's not fretting for money. The guy's not fretting for money at all. Why did he take your mind inside of take yourself inside the mind of a fighter for a second? Why did he take this fight?
I think after he beats Burns, he realizes, okay, do I want to fight Colby or do I want to fight Jorge again? Colby was a kind of tough fight. Jorge was kind of easy. I'll probably make more money with Jorge. And Jorge's talking. I broke Colby's jaw. Let Colby do something else.
So let's also Michael, and I want you joining in on this as well. If that is the case, why did he say he's going to put the nail in the coffin this time around? Why is he going to finish him this time around? What does he mean by that?
Because of the built-in excuse. That's what he was saying. Because if you remember, he was like, oh, he has the built-in excuse. 6 days, cutting all that weight. That's why. So it is pride, but also I think he knows because, look, his manager Ali is as smart as they come. I'm sure he was telling him, look, you agree to a fight with Masvidal, that's going to do numbers, especially during a pandemic world. And he gets to shut him up. If he beats Masvidal, he has a chance to end it all.
So beating Masvidal, right? What will make Usman satisfied in beating Masvidal? Would it be a decision? No. Would it be a decision? I don't think a decision would be. I don't think a decision would make him happy. I think he's going in with the intention to stop him.
Yeah. Sure. Well, yeah, I think he wants to stop anybody he goes against. I think if it's a decision in which, like last time, where he won all these rounds, but not a lot of damage has been done, he probably wouldn't be satisfied. If it's a decision to where he beat T Wood down for 5 rounds, he would be satisfied with that.
Sure, if he did that to him, I'm sure he'd be satisfied.
Yeah, so I don't think.
But T Wood and Jorge are different. T Wood and Jorge are just different.
Let's be real though. At the time, that T Wood.
No, T Wood. I thought Darren Till was going to beat T Wood. To be honest with you, I thought Darren Till, because T Wood was fighting. He wasn't fighting to win. He was fighting to survive. He was fighting to stay champion. There's fighting to win, and then there's fighting. There's fighting to win, and then there's also fighting to survive. I think Tyron Woodley, he had become. I honestly wanted to see a rematch between the two because I was like, maybe that motivates him. But after I saw Tyron Woodley last few fights, I said we never need to see that rematch happen again. But I just think that I think that Jorge Masvidal is too spirited. Too spirited, and I just think that you won't catch him in that type of scenario in which you're going to break his will. And that's what Jorge says. He says, I want to break his will. I want to break him. I want to finish him. You say you want to do all these things. Okay, we'll find out. Because what's going to happen if you hit this man with your best strike? If you do whatever and he's still there, he's still talking. He's still blowing kisses at you. He's still doing all what are you gonna do?
You got to keep going like he did against Colby. Colby was still there. I rewatched that. They posted it before he fought Burns. I rewatched that, and I'm like, this. A lot of people saying, "Oh, it's 2-2 going into the fifth." It could have been 3-1 either way. But I think when it comes to being a champion, and not the BMF champion, because you don't get a fake belt made up to fight Nate Diaz. But when it comes to being a champion, you have to be able to have more than just your savage mentality. What do you call him earlier? A savage. When he hits him, he's a savage.
Yeah.
Champions don't have to be savages. Izzy's not a savage. Izzy's the most flashy, nicest anime watcher, but when he gets in that cage, he's a finisher. And that's what you want from a champion. And Usman with Whitman is learning how to be a finisher.
Okay.
And
Usman's never been a big finisher, though. I'll just say that.
He ain't finishing this one.
That's why I said with Whitman, he's learning.
He ain't finishing this fight.
Well, we'll see. I think someone who got finished by the one dude, I don't even know the dude's name, but I saw it on Instagram. He got caught in like an inverted triangle. And Masvidal, he actually said it in the interview before his last fight. He's like, I'll never tap. I've never tapped in my life. And I'm like, wait, you lost by submission twice.
I think he went out.
And he went out.
Yeah.
And okay, respect to you. I actually have a lot more respect to people when they don't tap and they go out. But Jorge, don't do that. You're going to have your family in attendance. There's kids watching. Your girl might be in attendance. You don't want to embarrass yourself. When Usman put that thing on you.
You hear the way he's talking about Masvidal.
This is crazy. This is
absolutely disrespectful.
I don't support this.
Absolutely disrespectful.
Taking what from who? He said it best. You taking what from who? And that's a serious question. Who's taking the belt from Usman? Who's a better fighter than Usman? Who has more than a puncher's chance against Usman? You say Chimaev. I need to see a little bit more of him before I even put him in there. But hey, we're gonna see. 72 hours.
Okay.
Any final words, Mike?
I want to say this because Kamaru Usman's talked about this in the past. With his wrestling background, he was never someone who would pin people, especially when he was at Nebraska Kearney. But what he would do is force you into a technical fall, essentially blow you out so much that it's a mercy rule in baseball pretty much, but just in wrestling. Kamaru Usman has pretty much done that throughout his MMA career. He's going to try to do that. I just think this is going to be a much closer fight than it was almost 10 months ago. I think this is going to be the split decision in favor of Usman.
Okay. Well, you heard it here first, fellas.
I love it.
It's hard for me to keep my emotions out because Malik knows how to get me riled up. That's why he wanted to jump in at the last moment. But it's all right. I'm not going to let him get me too riled up.
You don't let me get you riled up now.
I'm going to woosah. I'm going to double check my parlay right here after Anthony Davis is making his debut. So I'm hyped for that. I'm going to get back in my bag. Remember, follow us on YouTube, subscribe, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram. Go download the mobile app on any type of smartphone you have. If you got a flip phone, if your grandma got a flip phone, tell her to download the app too and stop playing. Strikes and submissions, hashtag no decisions. We out.